Welcome to the I Am a Woman podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Strickland, and I am thrilled right now about this guest that we have on today. Her name is Lindsey Graham, but we call her the Patriot Barbie. Welcome, Lindsey, to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just telling her, hey, did you know I was Barbie? Because I was Barbie for the 35th anniversary of the doll in Italy. When I was modeling over there.
Tell me the context of that. You were actually Barbie, you were hired to be Barbie.
Yeah. So it's so funny. I was living in Italy. I was doing the runway at the time. I was in the modeling industry. Lindsey and I are just getting to know each other. So you guys are just along for this ride. I was in the modeling industry since I was about 8 years old. And when I graduated from college, I went over to Europe to do the runway. And I was struggling with anorexia at the time. And I was hired to be Barbie. And I was so thin and so unhealthy, which is what got me the job to be Barbie at this place called Gardaland. It was like an Italian Disneyland. And they needed the princess coming out in at Disneyland. They needed that person. And but I remember I was so skinny that they literally spent hours on my makeup, covering over the dark circles under my eyes.
Oh my gosh.
And then they added like straps to my dress and sleeves because
so your bones wouldn't stick out.
Because my clavicle bones were sticking out so badly. They're like, oh my gosh, we have to cover the fact that she's anorexic, but I had to be anorexic to be Barbie. So it was so bizarre.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. And I just remember all of the children at Gardaland, which is like the Italian Disneyland, coming out and just swarming me. They just wanted to touch my dress, my big pink dress, because they believed that that's what beauty looked like or happiness looked like.
So sad.
Yeah. But it was a good wake-up call in my life. But let me introduce you to my listeners. You guys have got to hear Lindsey's bio, and you do not want to miss these next two episodes. So Lindsey came on the scene after refusing to comply with the state of Oregon's draconian COVID-19 lockdowns in 2023. She was catapulted into the national spotlight when she opened her salon against national mandates and became the iconic voice of freedom. This is when I started following her. And so everybody started calling her the Patriot Barbie by the woke mob. Her public defiance of government outreach was the bold act that opened the nation's eyes. Lindsey Graham is no stranger to battle. In her one-of-a-kind tell-all journey, she nationally and publicly details both the grind and the glory of her life. Drawing on past experiences and real-world insights, Lindsey invites her audience into a journey that is inspiring and enlightening. And with vulnerability, she openly details her powerful testimony, her fall from grace, just like I do, and her fresh start with strong faith and unwavering conviction, all blossoming from one life-altering moment in 2020. Her boldness and unapologetic fight gives her followers and fans hope, backbone, and courage to boldly stand up for themselves. So, Lindsey has become a huge social media influencer after her viral speech at a school board meeting dressed as a cat went public in 2022. You guys, if you haven't seen her dressed as a cat talking to the school board, you absolutely got to see it. I'll share it on my story the week this episode comes out. But she has really solidified her voice. She's unapologetic. She champions strong men, embraces family values, and has become one of the most inspiring leaders of the conservative movement. Lindsey's a wife, a mom of three, a pro-life activist like me, and a keynote speaker, and two-time author of the memoir Targeted, as well as a children's faith-based book. She founded a Patriot apparel company called the Patriot Barbie Shop and is the co-founder of a conservative fashion brand brand called Pretty Little Patriot. She's an ambassador for Turning Point USA, the director of media relations for Freedom Square, and an influential activist on social media. Welcome to the show, Lindsey.
Thank you. That was like a mouthful.
That was a mouthful.
Wrap it up.
You gave me a speech, girl. But I want everybody to know about you and your story. So let's start with your story. Let's start with what happened during the lockdowns.
So it was right about now. We're like right about that area. Yeah, March 23rd is when they locked everyone down. So we're like, 4 days away from 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And I owned 6 businesses. My husband owned a huge gym, not like a little gym, like a gym. I owned a 25-chair hair salon, and we owned 4 tanning salons, all which were, of course, non-essential. So I had just had my 3rd baby, just bought a new SUV. We had just built our beautiful forever home in Oregon. Like, the timing for lockdowns for everyone in the world was horrible because it never should have happened. But for us specifically, we had reinvested all of our money into like our life, ready to like smooth sail into retirement. And they locked everyone down. And we're like, how are we going to pay our 6 rents on our 6 businesses? How are we going to pay our mortgage? How are we going to pay our car payments? And so at the 6-week mark, this is so hard to believe, but we all complied. Like, we were all complying for 6 weeks, even though they were like 2 weeks to flatten the curve, another week. And May 2nd, I looked at my husband and I was like, we are going to lose everything we've worked for the last 20 years if I do not go back and do hair. I am going to open my salon. I'm going to tell my girls who are single moms, who are breadwinners, who are veterans, you can work, and whatever happens, happens. And that changed our lives forever. I reopened publicly on May 5th. This is, of course, the elevator pitch. And the government literally targeted me with every single agency they could. I was probably the 3rd person in America to reopen publicly. And so I got the brunt of the media and the shut her down, don't let her empower anyone, don't resist. You are the anarchist. Yeah. Didn't expect it. Honestly thought, who is going to disagree with that? Like, I need to pay my bills and I need to feed my kids. How is that controversial? Well, it is, apparently. Apparently it was.
So you didn't expect it. You didn't expect to have pushback and all this media coverage or anything. You were just taking a stand for your family and the women who worked in your salon. Good point.
Yep. Yeah. And I honestly believed, oh man, the whole world was going to rally around me. This is like not controversial. And I mean, if I would have known what would have happened to me, I probably would not have done it. I'm so thankful that God gave me the courage to do it because it's all for his glory, and you'll hear it and you'll see it. It's all for his purpose. So what happened is I stood up to the government. I continued to. I did not back down. But I was completely canceled by the left, completely annihilated by the party that believes that my freedom was murdering people and was killing grandmas, and I was a threat to the community. So I ended up being able to withstand government, tyranny. I ended up with a $14,000 fine, which I refuse to pay to this day. But I did get completely cancel cultured. We lost all of our businesses. I had to close my salon. We had to sell our home. We closed and sold all the gyms and the tanning salons, and we moved out of Oregon. We moved to Arizona within 4 months. We had lost literally almost everything. Moved to Arizona. And
now, wait, did you guys, and you became the Patriot Barbie, your ultimate identity, right? No, just kidding. No, yeah. But now did you lose those businesses because of the people refusing to come to the tanning salons, or was it the government that was shutting you down?
I lost the businesses because I became a target for like the leftist cancel culture. I became a target for Antifa and BLM. When they started rioting, they threatened to burn my salon down. And I did a call to arms, and 400 patriots showed up outside my salon. And so, all these videos went viral of me holding an AR outside my salon. And I'm a violent individual, and I'm a white nationalist.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, typical crap, right? But I was unaware of this. And so this was like This era, 4 years ago, I was like, oh, like a chipmunk shaking. I'm like, how am I being labeled a white nationalist? What is this? What is this? I'm a racist? What? I've like never been a racist. All of a sudden, the entire state is calling me a racist. I had no idea what was going on. I like panicked. So basically, the left decided I was this white nationalist, racist, Trumpster, all the things. They started issuing death threats to my stylists, to my family, to me, anyone that associated with me. They were threatening. And so my stylists ended up leaving me, all of them, 24 out of 25 walked out on me, claiming that they couldn't endure the threats of being called a white nationalist because they worked for me. So
what is it? White now? What is the race thing? This is the power of the mob. What does the race have to do with you needing to support your family and keep your business open? How do they even make that leap?
They made the leap on their own. They went from, okay, if you're opening your salon, you're a conservative, you're a Trumpster, you're a MAGA, you're a far right extremist. So when I burn your salon down, and if I didn't want my salon burned down because of a Black death, then I didn't stand with Black people. Therefore, I was a racist. So in order to be not a racist, I would have to have allowed my salon to get burned down.
It's so bizarre.
It's crazy.
It's so bizarre.
Mind you, my best friend at the time for 14 years was a Black person. So I was like,
right.
Did you not look at my social media? And then if I were to say, that my best friend is Black, right? They're like, oh, way to pull the friend is Black card. That doesn't make you not a racist. I'm like, actually it does make me not a racist.
Do you want to find alternative places to shop that support your family values? There is no reason a freedom-loving patriot should be shopping at and supporting woke companies like Amazon or Target. These companies abuse your dollars and donate back to organizations that stand against what you value. Please join us here at the I Am a Woman podcast by changing your shopping habits to support one company that stands for freedom, traditional values, and the American dollar. My Freedom Cart is a one-stop shop online for all your household reusables. We're talking about toothpaste, body wash, skincare, makeup, snacks, coffee, laundry, dish soap, cleaning supplies. Over 500 products at your fingertips. All safe and affordable for your entire family, the kiddos too. They have their own high end of vitamins, medicines, and supplements to keep your family healthy. And to highlight it even more, the products are safe, toxic-free, and made right here in America. You could do your shopping online and have all your home consumables sent right to your front door at Amazon prices. All without 1 cent going to any cause that doesn't align with your values. We support police, military, veterans, and above all else, freedom. My Freedom Cart. Join our exclusive club today and start voting with your dollars while creating a toxic-free home and saving money. Go to myfreedomcart.com/IamWoman and submit your info to join. That's myfreedomcart.com/IamWoman to get started. One of our Patriot team members will call you to get you fighting the good fight alongside us.
Okay, so at that point, you close your businesses, you move your family to Arizona, and then what happened? You said that God made it good. How did something so awful become so good?
Yeah, so I went through an identity crisis when I moved to Arizona because I was not a boss babe. I was not making $250,000 a year. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I had been a hairstylist in Oregon my whole life. So I ended up writing my book Targeted in 2021, I believe. And God literally told me to do that. And through that process, I was trying to explain how I felt like I was the right person to stand up to government, or how I even happened to do that. And throughout the book, I kind of tried to explain stories in which I felt God had been with me and made me stronger. They were stories like having an abortion, being in an abusive relationship, recovering from a drug addiction. And I was like, Lord, I don't want to write those in my book. That has nothing to do with the government. And he literally was like, it has everything to do with who you are, what I've allowed you to go through, and who I've created you to be this person. And it was just this eye-opening experience. Like, I'm not writing a book to be a best-selling author. I'm writing a book so that I can understand that everything in my life has happened to prepare me for this. And whatever this is God allowing me to lose everything that was my identity so that I can fall into his identity and do what he's called me to do, not do hair, which I was not using for ministry whatsoever. And so as I wrote that book, I just discovered, okay, Lord, I don't know what you're doing with Patriot Barbie, but I'm going to go through the doors that you open. I'm going to be trusting that you have a plan for this. And I don't need to even know what it is or where it ends, but I'm here for it. And that is how my platform has grown. And I am accomplishing the things that I'm accomplishing because I just keep following what I feel like God's calling me to do.
I love it. I love it. That's incredible. That's incredible. So you said that you have been through an abusive relationship and an abortion. What is your message to women who are going through that or have been through that? How did God bring good from those things in your life?
Well, so my abortion was when I was, I believe, 21 years old. It's like kind of foggy. I haven't sat down and done the math, 21 or 22. Mm-hmm. And I was raised a Christian. I knew that abortion was wrong. I did my senior report on why abortion was wrong. And when faced with the situation that I was in, which was an abusive relationship, and there was threats that if I didn't abort the baby, X, Y, and Z would be done to me. And, of course, I was a young, vulnerable, manipulated, completely brainwashed, completely abused woman. And my mind just, I just convinced myself that it was what was best for me. And, God would forgive me and it wouldn't affect me. I would do it and it would be out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. And that is not the truth. The truth is that my abortion haunts me to this day. You can still be a Christian and love Jesus and be forgiven and know that God forgives you and forgive yourself, but still be in pain and regret and remorse. And that's where I live. And I don't cry about it every day, of course. I live a very beautiful, joyful life, but I have 3 kids. And that's really what started to kind of bring out the emotional part of it, was looking at my littlest son, Ranger. He's 4. And just the love that you look at your kids with, the adoration, like the heart bursting emotions, understanding like you weren't somebody until you were. And now I have you and I love you and I love everything about you. And you're just you're this own person that I just can't love enough. And I think about who is the person that doesn't exist today? Who is my other child that I would be bursting with love over? I have no idea what color her eyes are, what her personality would have been. And we believe as Christians that God has a purpose for everyone. And so I've made this analogy before to people. Our country is in a very, very bad place. I think that is because God does have a purpose for all of us. And there are people that don't exist. There are people, 63 million a year, that are not falling into their purpose. They're not even here because their mothers aborted them. And I wonder, long-term, painfully, what effect would my daughter have had on this world? Like, who would she be? What if my mom had aborted me? What impact would I not be having on this earth right now?
Right.
And so women need to know you have choice. Unfortunately, you have choice. And that's what I say. I wish I didn't have a choice, because my life would have maybe been a lot harder raising a child with an abusive man, but at least she would have life, right? That's more important. Just have life than I would have a luxurious life. And so you're going to have choice, probably always, because this government is immoral. It's about law. It's not about God's law. But use that choice to choose life, not as a law, because I'm telling you that it will not empower you. Abortion does not empower women. It is so painful. I hear from hundreds and hundreds of women when I post about my abortion on social media, hundreds that live with regret for 40 years. I'm going on 20 years, 40, 50. I've had women tell me that they've had an abortion and they've never told another soul.
Yeah.
That is what a weight to carry around. What a unfreeing feeling to be trapped with a deep, dark secret that you feel like is so shameful. You can't share it with anyone except a complete stranger randomly. And that's not women empowerment. I don't want women to live with that. I don't want them to live with the choice that I lived with.
Yeah. Such an important message. Especially for college girls, high school girls that believe the lie that the fetus is not a child, that the man's voice doesn't have any worth, that the man doesn't have any right over the child, that responsibility is hers alone. All these lies that the liberal feminist movement has really brainwashed this generation with. So I think every single woman who can speak out and tell the truth about the pain from her abortions is so essential right now, because by you doing that, you have the opportunity to reach one girl, to reach one woman. And you and I were one woman, so we know we know what it is when Jesus reaches down from the throes of heaven and puts his hand around our heart and says, I have something more for you. And God's using you to do that. So I just want to applaud you for that. You had, yes, because it takes a lot of courage to do what we do, which is to be honest.
Yeah. To be vulnerable and authentic. I'd say that, Christianity doesn't fit in a box. I certainly did not fit in the box. I still don't, with all my tattoos and my piercings. But Jesus,
I love that about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't fit in a box, and he came for the brokenhearted. And if we're never honest about the things that broke our hearts, then what purpose was it really for? And that is how God gets the glory.
Yeah. And it's a great example of, I'm going to go like super crazy old fashioned, not even really obviously the way I live my life. But God had laws for a reason, and they weren't to like trap us and make us prude and, lame. It was because if you go against those laws, you end up with more heartache than he ever intended for you. And so it goes all the way back to like, okay, well, if you don't have sex before marriage, you can't get pregnant with a guy's baby that you didn't want to get pregnant with. And then, okay, now you're pregnant, you make this choice to abort. That's not God's law. He had written that law because I had already broken the first law, which is to have sex before marriage. And now I have all of this heartache. And he said, that's why I was telling you in the Bible, don't do these things. Not because I want to trap you and make you abide by laws. I know that this is going to bring pain to you. And so it's like, okay, if we could just remember that God is not a God of scorn and like anger and strict, rules. He's not a dominator. He wants what's best for us. And I think my life is a reflection of like, I was doing really good with God. And then I went away for 3 years and went nuts. And all of that led to like complete and utter heartache. But it's great, right? Because God turns everything for good, Romans 8:28, because now he's using all of those things for me to use a non-judgmental voice to speak to women, especially why following God's law and loving the Lord and having a relationship with him is so much more fruitful than the opposite.
You couldn't have said it better. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, so tell me about this. I saw the other day when you posted on social media and you were being vulnerable about your abortion that you also struggle with body dysmorphia. That's one of the things that I have studied extensively. I think I experienced it during the time of my eating disorder when I was doing the runway. And it's really my passion to help young women understand to be the best they can be in the skin they're in, to know that they're fearfully and wonderfully made, that God created them on the potter's wheel and all of that. But what is body dysmorphia? And when did you find out about that? And talk to me about your journey with that. Not a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah. I think every woman has it. I really do. I think every,
okay.
like from like this little bit to like the extreme, right?
Yeah.
We all have it because we all would say, oh, I wish my nose were just a little thinner, or, oh, I wish I didn't have this arm fat. So it's like, all right, that's body dysmorphia. That's you telling yourself that this is not good enough and you wish it were different.
Hold on. That is so interesting that you say that. That is so interesting because basically, okay, hold on. I want you to go into your story with this, but if you really think about this, so body dysmorphia is seeing yourself incorrectly, pretty much, right? It's like I would look in the mirror and I was skeletal, but I couldn't listen to someone who told me that I needed to eat. But what you're saying is the average woman, because I mean, I look at myself now and I'm like, can someone please airbrush me? You know what I mean? Can I just be airbrushed? It's hard for me to go on, very hard for me to go on social media as a former model who ran from that business, ran screaming from the modeling industry because it was so painful for me to never be good enough, never be perfect enough. And now people are like, you need to go on social media. And I'm like, I have to force myself. It's so hard because I'm self-critical, even though I write books about appearance and I understand what God's word says. It's just hard. So body dysmorphia, define that for us. Is that what it is? It's basically other people are like, you look great. And you're like, no, all I see is the flaw. All I see is what's wrong. Is that?
So I think it's looking at yourself and having anybody at all, whoever it is that you've decided, having a different look be like the expectation when no one has ever set expectations for anyone. Like the media has, modeling has, but
right.
Who says if her eyes are bigger, that's more attractive? Who says if my nose is smaller, that's more attractive? Like people get married. They get married to different people all the time. So your husband thinks you're attractive. My husband thinks I'm attractive. We don't look the same. Where did the standard come from? Obviously, we know where it came from. Social media now, the media, modeling, models, ads, actresses. But body dysmorphia is it's like taking yourself or any part of yourself and saying it's not meeting whatever your brain has decided the expectation is. And I'll take something ridiculous. And this is on my social media, so I'm happy to talk about it. My lips, like, they've been skinny my whole life. I literally say I have like a Reba McEntire lip, right? So I started getting my lips filled because somewhere in my own mind, probably social media and TV, bigger, fuller lips were the new attractive.
Okay.
Well, mine don't, they're not big and plump. So I'm going to go get them big and plump. And then I went crazy. They were never big enough and they were never plump enough. And this is such a vicious cycle. The more I would be on social media, I would see other women's lips and my lips never looked like her lips. And so I'd go back and I'd get them dissolved and I'd get them redone. I want them to look like that. And it's like, I don't have the same lips as her. They're never going to look the same. I'm not going to look like her. She's a filter or she's airbrushed or whatever. Oh dear. But no matter what I could do, I couldn't look at my own lips and be like, perfect. I love them. Like, never.
I'm sending you my Bible study that I wrote on this topic, the Girl Perfect Bible Study. Okay, everybody out there who's read the Girl Perfect Bible Study, we are sharing it with the Patriot Barbie. We're setting her free. But I'm joking about this, but it is a real thing that you're talking about because it's really about who we agree with, right? It's about, are we agreeing with the enemy? I always teach on Ezekiel 38 says Satan was the original model of perfection. So if you do my Bible study, you will study Ezekiel 38 and what the Bible says about Satan and his desire and quest for wisdom, wealth, and beauty, and to be perfect and to be worshipped, and how he impacts us. And you understand that it's whose voice that you agree with, God's voice. So it manifests itself like that, like with your lips. How else does it manifest itself?
I mean, I would say probably in every area, like mentally. Oh, I'm not as smart as this one person. I'm not as educated. She's speaking on topics I don't know. Well, are you going to go become an expert in another topic as someone else? but of course, like bodily, and the reason I think women all have a sense of body dysmorphia is because I remember even as a teenager being completely and utterly content with my body. And yet somehow I tried to like go through an anorexic stage, like intentionally, because I thought it would make me unique. I thought we watched the stupid videos in sex ed or whatever it is you watched men back then. And I remember thinking, well, that girl got all this attention and it made her like special and unique. It's did the opposite of what it was supposed to do, right?
Right.
So I almost tried to create in myself an anorexia bulimia problem. And it sure did get my mom's attention. I didn't lose weight. I wasn't doing it correctly. But the fact that my mind was twisted enough to think that I would get attention for something like that. And you asked,
disease of approval. Anorexia and bulimia, diseases of approval and control. Yeah. Attention.
And you asked like when I realized I had a body dysmorphia problem, and I don't think I realized it on a certain day. Okay. But my journey has been like, I've been getting filler and Botox and, augmentation, not like surgeries, but like augmentation to my face since I've owned a salon. So like 15, 20 years. And always looking for a more chiseled jaw, fuller lips, fuller cheeks, a heart shape, a nice, whatever the models look like, whatever the Instagram girls look like. And of course, again, they're all filtered, right? Trying to change my face until I felt like it looked the way I thought it needed to look. Well, I started praying because I was so tired of going back and forth with my lips. And here's another part of the body dysmorphia I think you have to understand. I would get, let's say, my lips done, and then I would be unhappy with them. And I'd go back to my phone and I'd go find pictures of when I liked my lips, and I'd show them to the girl I was getting my lips done. Well, I'm showing her pictures of a way that I looked. So at that point, why did I change them? I liked them. Well, I like them now, and now they don't look like that. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm looking at pictures of me in existence 6 months ago. Okay. Why 6 months ago did my brain tell me that wasn't enough and I had to go do something different? And now I'm doing that again. So I went, you know what, Lord, okay, this is my journey. Lord, can you please just let me see myself the way you see me? Can I look in the mirror and just be content? Can I just be happy?
You're not going to see it from looking in the mirror.
I'm not.
That's it. That's not where you're going to get it. You should go on a fast from the mirror. That's what I did. I went on a 40-day fast from the mirror. I'm sending you all my books. I feel like God put us together for a reason. Okay. Finish what you're going to say, but I'm just telling you as friend to friend, Barbie to Barbie, you're not going to get it from looking in the mirror and being satisfied, because 1 Corinthians says the mirror is a poor reflection of who you are. It is a foggy reflection. It's an incomplete reflection. You know this, Lindsey, that you're only going to see who you are in God's eyes by looking into his eyes, and you're going to have to turn away from that mirror to be able to do it. It'd be awesome if you could go on a fast from the mirror. That was really life-changing for me.
That would be insane.
Yes, it was insane. It was insane. You probably wouldn't do it you would probably just have a wilderness experience. No,
crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It changed my life.
I'm not gonna say when or if, but like challenge accepted. I'm gonna pray on that.
Okay. I'm going to send you my books and Bible studies, and God brought us together for a reason, because he's got deeper healing for you. How at the same time, I want to thank you for sharing about your journey with body dysmorphia and making it more understandable. It relates to the trans movement, which we're going to talk about in the next episode. But before we close that, have you ever linked your body dysmorphia to your abortion? Have you made that connection between those two experiences that are related to the temple, your body as a temple? I want you to, you're going to do that when you do my Bible studies. So, the Lord has an incredible plan for you. But let me just say this to my listeners, and we're in the plan. And what's so incredible about Lindsey is her fierce voice of faith and culture, which is so funny. As I said that, I think my eyelash just went crooked. The fierce and beautiful voice that you have in Voice and Culture has been a huge inspiration to me, even in launching this podcast. So God is using you in such a mighty way. And I'm so excited to continue our conversation on the next episode. Before we close this episode, I want you to do two things. I want you to speak or say a prayer, however you want to do it, to the woman who's struggling in her body. Maybe she had an abortion. Maybe she's believing the lies of the enemy about her body. And then the second thing I want you to do is I want you to tell me what a woman is, because that's what we do on every episode of the I Am Woman podcast. So I'll ask you that question first. Lindsey, what is a woman?
A woman is a creation, a perfect creation by God of a female taken and made out of Adam's rib with XX chromosomes. She is not renounced to lipstick, lashes, or a dress. She is a beautiful being that God created to conceive children, birth children, nurse children, and nurture children. And she is created in God's image, and no one can be her unless God says that she is her. And
Boom.
God does not say that he is her, ever.
Ever, because he never lies to us about who we are. Okay. What do you want to say to the women out there who's struggling in her body or has had an abortion, a painful experience in her body today?
We're supposed to pray, right? Pray it.
Let's do it that way.
Lord, I pray that you would give the vision and the open eyes to the women in America and all over the world that you gave to me, the ability to understand that who we are outwardly is a lie spoken to us by the devil, spoken to us by the media, social media, models, magazines, TV. We are never going to look at ourselves and think we are perfect. So I just pray that you would let us look at ourselves as who you created us, and to embrace our identity, and to see that more important than what we look like on the outside is who we are on the inside. And I just pray that you would actually answer the prayers that I prayed for each woman, and that she would pray the same. When I look in the mirror, which we do, that I would look at myself and I would think, I am beautiful. I am beautiful. My imperfections are beautiful, because that's who you created me to be. I'm not going to be more beautiful if I look like someone else. I look beautiful because I am exactly who you say I am. Right. And I pray that you would convict their hearts the way you've convicted mine, that the alterations to my face are less beautiful than my actual face, because you didn't create those. And so I just pray that you would do this for every woman that's struggling with body dysmorphia in every way, not just the face, the breasts and the legs and the butt and the chest and the arms and the fat and the skinny, the round and the small, tall and short, that you would just say, you may not look like X, Y, or Z, because that's not who you're supposed to look like. You're supposed to look like you, and you are beautiful. And when you tell yourself you're not, you are slapping God in the face. You are slapping him in the face and telling him, A, he does make mistakes, and B, he didn't do good enough by you. Mm-hmm. And Lord, I just pray that that would convict women's hearts. And we don't want to insult our creator. We want to look in the mirror and say, I may not like it, but God, boy, you did a good job. I am beautiful because you say so. Amen.
Awesome prayer. Yeah. Genesis 1:31, he was pleased with what he made in you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm excited to have you back, because we're going to talk about your adventures in Target, the transgender agenda, and how women can use their voices to be a purifying fire in our nation right now. Thanks for joining us today on the show. This was an incredible time. Remember, I am a woman, and my name means